moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to the Room2Breathe Podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so glad that you've made space to be here with us today. Now, before we get into this episode, do me a quick favor. If you are feeling the vibe, go ahead and show us some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, and share this out with someone who may need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also wish to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch and free resources to help nourish your growth and remind you that you are supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, and most importantly, for you. Now, if anything in today's episode hits home, go ahead and drop a green heart in the chat. It is our way of saying that I'm healing, I'm growing, and I'm showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. Takiesha, also known as ThaVeganHealer, is here with us today to share her story. Her story is about resilience, obedience, and transformation. And she's here to share how she's moved through, life struggle and fully into her purpose, and how listening to God's voice over the noise can really lead to breakthroughs just in spaces that we never thought was possible. So family, help me welcome Takiesha into the Room to Breathe. Hello, Queen. How are you today?
I'm great.
Yes. Now, you've been around the show long enough to know, before we get into your story, I'm going to ask you, how's your spirit doing today?
Big 10s, 20s, 100s. Yes. I'm feeling really good, actually.
Good. That's what I like to hear, because Lord knows, we know life be life.
It do its thing, but we here.
Yeah.
We here.
Exactly.
We here.
Right. I always say it do its thing and I do my thing, and somewhere in between there's alignment, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So I guess let's just jump right in and start from the very beginning, right? Your faith journey and how it became your guiding light. Can you take us back to the moment that you first realized obedience to God's voice would be central to your healing journey?
Woo! 2021, when I had to have a full hysterectomy. I had 7 tumors. One was the size of a watermelon, and I was laying in a bed for 12 weeks, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything for myself. And I said, God, please get me up out of this bed, because I am an independent person. I do. No family near. And God said, just listen to my voice. So after that, I said, whatever you want me to do. I know it's not a trade-off, but right now, and ever since then, we've been talking. Now, I was always so obedient, but now, because I noticed really quick, he said, you're going to walk, because I was on a walker. They were like, you're not, because of so much that was taken out of me at one time, like they were like, you're going to need a walker. Mm-hmm. I was like, you're not going to need no walker. I was like, I'm prepared to bedazzle it. I'm prepared to put streamers on it. If that's what I got to do, I'm going to do it. And he was like, oh, nah, you don't have to put, you're not going to need a walker. So I can walk straight. I don't have a limp. Ever since, I really was, but ever since then, everything he said, he's not failed me. It's not feminine.
Yeah. And that's so powerful. When we don't always want to give in, like you said, it wasn't always an easy obedience. Sometimes we got to get whooped into the obedience,
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk about how your faith carried you through. How did your faith shape your perspective when you were faced with illness, with grief, and just overall life challenges?
Okay, God, how am I going to do this? This not easy. I learned that even though we don't understand, doesn't mean we can't ask questions.
Yeah.
And the hard questions that you're not going to say to your best friend, the hard questions, because they don't have the answer. He the one with the answers. And, you're taught that you have to say this, this, this. No. Like, I don't like this. I don't like the way this making me feel. I didn't know that I could say that. And in my pain and in my maneuvering, just like, help, this not right. So what do I do? Because this doesn't feel good. So being able to, because people sometimes, they don't let you speak.
Yeah.
And so you need to get it out. And so knowing that I was able to get all of it out, and then I'm going to get an answer back, and it's going to be valid.
Yeah.
We're on to something. So yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that people have to realize that faith is such a daily practice. It's not a one and done. You know what I mean? It's something that we have to continue to do over and over again, because the whole walk by faith, not by sight is difficult to do sometimes when we see so much in front of us and we know that we have to just continue to trust that walk. And asking questions. I think growing up as a child, we're taught you don't ask questions. Your parents tell you to do something, how dare you question it? Or, it's like the audacity of you to ask a question. And so we grow up, thinking that we cannot question our Heavenly Father, because that is disrespectful. That is not what you do. And then you realize, wait, I got to ask questions because I need guidance. I need to know what to do next. Yeah.
That's how your faith belief turns into the no. Yeah. It's the asking questions that really flipped it all for me, because walk by faith, not by sight. But then you'd be like, but when I start asking questions, no, it turned my belief into, I know that he's I know he said go this way, so that's the way to go. No confusion. No confusion there.
Absolutely. So again, I want to stay focused, because obedience is my word. And I know that's something that we're aligned on with that word, right? I want to know, what does obedience mean to you? Not just in theory, but in your daily practice.
Ooh. I don't. So, of course, everybody has they get woken up by God, they say. We get woken up. When I get awakened by God in the morning, it doesn't matter what time it is. I'm up. What you need me to do? You need me to do something? Good morning. How you doing? That's I'm just like, because we cool, I need to pray. Okay, I need to pray now. Okay, I don't look at the weather. I know that seems like weird, but I don't look at the weather, because literally I get up and Holy Spirit's like, put this on, wear this. One time I didn't do it, and it ended up being 90 degrees, and I had on galoshes because I looked at the weather. I'm saying that this serious. Like, I was like, okay, I learned my lesson, because I was like, I know I smell rain. My hip is hurting. It was 90 degrees outside. I had on rain boots, and I could not go out to change my shoes. So things like that. When not so long ago, my car was messed up. Well, clearly just listening, pull over. I said, what? Pull over. If I didn't pull over, I'd have been stopped in the middle of the road. Even letting go of people, because that's hard, being obedient. No, letting go of people that, because we're human and emotions, we don't think that they would do certain things. I've learned enough to know when God gives me a heads up to be obedient. Oh, you about to meet Judas. What? Let go of everybody. I said, I already did isolation. I already did pruning. What we doing? You don't want me to have nobody. Okay, right. I trust, but I end with, I don't fuss. I say, I trust you. That's it. I trust you. Okay. So, and sure enough, he revealed, why did I say let go of that person? Oh, okay. I'd be like, oh, okay, I feel you. All right.
Yeah.
2,000 for you, none for me, because I'm never right.
Right, exactly. And I love that too, because you said a part where you've already trimmed off the fat. If I keep cutting, ain't no meat left. Ain't nothing left here. Like, so I just ain't supposed to have nothing, God? Like, what are we doing here? And then afterwards, you're like, I see what you did there. You did your big one. Okay. Like you said, 2,000 you, 0 me, because I'm winning, even though it feel like losing, but I'm winning, So let's move into, the healing journey itself, because your story, I really believe that there are so many, incredible just testimonies all wrapped into your story. And your healing journey is truly a testament to resilience and trust. So I just want to dive into some of the pivotal moments that have shaped it. What moment or revelation helped you move from feeling like a victim, perhaps, in the moment, you know what I mean? Like in the circumstance, to truly embracing your journey as a part of God's bigger assignment for you?
2019, November, I had moved to North Carolina, and in July, by November, I knew I wanted to leave. But something said no, so I couldn't. And then, you need to stop eating meat. What? I gotta give up my chicken wings?
Yeah.
Hold on. You want me to give up my chicken wings? Well, I need it. Everything I kept seeing was saying how meat was bad for you. I didn't impose my thoughts on anybody, but I was like, with my chicken wings, though, everything else was easy to give up but my chicken wings. But once I stopped eating meat, and then finally the sacrifice of letting go of my chicken wings, I could hear God telling me all the things. Okay, that prepped me for when it was time to, when I had ovarian cancer and I had to go through chemo. And then the pivotal, I didn't know that Jesus flipped the table. I was in the hospital and I flipped the table and I said, I'm not doing radiation. Becoming vegan has made it easier to hear God's voice. And I know a million vegans will tell you that no matter what they believe, but it's true. You have all of that stuff sets the noise off inside of you, not external, but inside of you. So having the noise quiet inside of me, I was able to, okay, so I have to stay here because this is an assignment to do.
Yeah.
I don't know why I need to. It doesn't feel good, but I have to. Friends, family was like, you're not happy, move. You always move. You're always led to move. You're always led to move. I was like, I can't. So then pivot to 2021, 2022, 2023, I'm flipping the table. Well, you already told me to stop eating meat. I haven't been eating meat. You need to be raw. You need to be raw. It wasn't hard. That transition wasn't hard. It was just like, okay, do this. Eat raw. God said eat raw, and you're going to be healed. And that's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's such a, I don't know, like that in itself is such a testimony, because I know a lot of us who contemplate, giving up just anything in life. It doesn't even have to be food, right? Any other thing that you feel like God is calling you to let go of, because we all have different things that he wants us to let go of. Where we would normally think it's hard, where we would normally kind of fight it in the beginning to say, wait, you want me to do what? Like for you said it was the chicken wings, right? We all have a chicken wing of life that, we're being led to get rid of. And we're like, oh, I could get rid of everything else. You can pick anything else, Lord, but I'm keeping this. And then when you finally step into it to say, okay, I'm gonna do it. just, then you look back and be like, well, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was. So I think we all have those moments in life where we're being called to do something that seems impossible. And then God does his big one and shows us
that it was a setup.
Yeah,
it was a setup. He set me up. And in 2019, 2020, like, no, don't eat the meat. Then come 2023, I needed to stop eating cooked food. So it wasn't that. I was like, oh, the chicken wings was the hard part. Oh, you want me to be raw vegan? Okay, be raw vegan. And I'll heal. So that's what you said. Like, I heard him say it. He said, when you go back to the doctor, I got you. And that was the end of cancer for me.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 years in February.
Okay, amen. That's such a blessing. Like, I don't know, every time we've had conversations prior to recording, and I'm like, you just give me chills every single time with this story, because it's just such a blessing, and I know how amazing the God we serve is. And what also I think speaks to me is the fact that if he could do it for you, he can do it for me. He could do it for the person. For
anybody.
Yeah.
Yes, he can do it for anybody. My name at first was the Vegan Thriller because, but he changed my name to Healer. It was so, for me, I'm like, okay, whoa, therapeutic eating. That's what I do, therapeutic eating. He taught me how to eat certain foods to heal certain things. And so that's how that started. Started.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a couple weeks ago, we were with the Herbalista, and, she was talking about how, it's written that, there's an herb to heal every part of our body. And the same goes for food. There's foods that support every single part of our body. And when we just think about the fact that before we were even here, before we were even in existence, he had already created these things for us, it's just another thing where I'm like, I'm just so thankful and grateful for the Father that we have, because
it's just love. It's just love. It's just love. Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes you have a different appreciation for things, and you don't have to be, guys, you don't have to be vegan to appreciate the love, but it just makes me be more mindful, as I'm eating, whatever I'm eating, it goes beyond the Lord, thank you for providing this meal that I have today, but for all the ingredients that you made for this meal to be possible. And, the hands that
because
prepare
everything.
Yeah.
Right, because essentially our lives are for his glory. And so we're eating for his glory. Like, that is because we're so grateful, like, we are eating, that is to show the glory of God, what we put in ourselves, like, just completely amazing. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, like, because my name is the Vegan Healer, again, that doesn't mean I can't help somebody that still chooses to eat meat. That's just, my goal is to help your body move at the 100%, and you live your health be up, 100%. As best as it can move, as best as it can operate. Right. That's it.
Yeah, for you to be able to control the parts that you can control, because we don't have all control. This ain't an all access pass, but for the things that we can control, again, whether that's food, whether it's other lifestyle choices that we're making, we have to be willing to, we can't just get in the driver's seat and then hope for the best. Right. We have to be prepared to take the wheel, shift the gear, press the pedal. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, and we get to choose that. And I mean, even the fact that God gives us the ability to choose that on our own, we're not robots. We haven't been programmed a certain way. We have this free will to navigate life, on our terms, quote unquote. But he let us mess up.
Right.
But that's the thing. He let us mess up. He let us make mistakes to learn, and hopes that we choose.
That's a whole nother word.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother word. Yes, he allows us to make the mistakes, but at any point, okay, I let you do it, because with the kids, I let you do it. When you finish, go ahead and apologize. Come on, I got you. Come here, let me hug you. Let me let you know what's good. Let me show you the way.
Right. Like, don't get snatched up. Don't get snatched up, because it's written. Don't be like Nabal and get smoked. okay? Because Jesus will smote you.
You smote you, and then, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't.
Right. I'm like, I don't want to be like Nabal, Lord. Don't label me the fool. That is not going to be me.
Reverence, I heard you. It's reverence. Okay, I heard you. I heard what you said the first time. Now you ain't got to repeat it.
Right. It's like when you and your siblings get in trouble and one is getting a whooping, you like, nope, I ain't doing that.
I don't want none of that. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And so when you think about healing, I know that, healing often happens in quiet spaces. What role did isolation or solitude play in your process, and how did it become your source of strength rather than loneliness?
Whew, that's heavy, because I used to say out my mouth, I've had a lot and I've had nothing. But I recognize now it was because of the people that were around. So as I am in the area of my life I'm in, when I first got here, I thought it was so small. It's so big to me now because of my relationship with God. We like this. My sister said, like, that's the OG for real. And we like this because it's nothing now, even though the physical space is small, the space is so big and wide because I could hear him so clear. And so the healing that comes from that, like, the Bible really is, the instructions. Yeah. And when you're young, you hear people say, well, they didn't give us instructions for this. No, in fact, if you think about any part of your life that you're in right now, and you find a spot in the Bible, they're going through that. That's why the word's still alive. And it gives you instructions on how to get out of that and how to maneuver through that. So being in isolation, thinking that he took everything away, but essentially, he made me brush up on my studies. Yeah. Because God is a businessman. I've been saying this for a couple of days. God is a businessman. Yeah. And a lot of his parables, he shows that. Just like he knows the needs we have, he got needs. And his needs are his fruit. Mm-hmm. So how are we going to know how to move accordingly here in this life? Read the instructions. Read the directions. You got a new toy, read the directions. This is your life. I gave the directions. He gave the directions. So that's where the healing came from me. It's going to start from the inside. And you ask for self-care because... Right. Okay, all right. So, it's a little menopause skin right now, but, that's where that glow comes from, that inside-outside glow that people be like, you did something. No, that's just God's glow. But we ain't seen you. You haven't seen me. You have not seen me, and that's why I'm glowing. That's that isolation glow. It needs to be like, be for real. Yes. Let's be real about the thing. That's the isolation glow, and that's the healing, because your response is everything. My response is not the same as when I came to be alone. It wasn't. I'm not lonely. My response is so very much different. Mm.
Yeah, and people need to truly understand and embrace the fact that being alone doesn't mean you're lonely. Just like being surrounded by a crowd of people doesn't make you feel worthy or feel surrounded. I think the most times that I felt alone, I was surrounded by a group of people. But once I finally branched off and did my own thing, I felt like that's when I truly woke up. That's when I was truly alive. And I worked best in that, just like when you think about COVID, right? When COVID happened and the world shut down, baby, I thrived. I was like, good. I ain't got the people. Now everybody want to be mandatory so many feet apart. I've been telling y'all to back up off of me.
Back up. Yeah, like
everybody else struggling, and I'm like, good. I want the mask.
Good. I want to be.
Keep your distance. I ain't never like shaking hands. I ain't never been a hug.
I don't do it. Yeah.
Like, how you doing?
Not for no type of way. Yeah. That's never been my thing either. But the isolation also forces you to do something. When you're surrounded by a bunch of people and a bunch of noise, you don't deal with yourself. You don't look at yourself in the mirror and say the real, because people can say anything to other people. But when you have to look at yourself, the parts that you don't like, parts you don't like, the parts you're trying to hide, all of those parts come to surface in isolation, and you're forced to deal with it. And coming out of it and dealing with it, that's where the glow comes from. Because you know you. Even I've been knitting for 20 years. Well, you were only knitting because your grandmother knitted. That's really not something you like to do. Like, you will notice things in you that you didn't necessarily put there. It was a product of your environment, of people that you were around. You really don't even like that. You learn you.
Yeah. I think that being in the group or being on the in crowd or always having to be a part of what you think is something bigger, all that does is set you up to perform. You have to perform to be what you think you're supposed to do, and you ain't got time to figure out what you're supposed to do, but you're the show must go on, so you're performing for the people around you, which means we're usually in places and spaces we don't want to be. We're a part of conversations that ain't none of our business.
And our business.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you know, and we done forced ourselves to be here because we didn't want to go. We showed up late because we don't want to be here. You know what I mean? And all in all of that time, God is like, well, you know, if you'd have just sat at home, if you'd have just been willing
if
to
you'd have just listened. If you'd have just listened to what I said, because how many times you'd be like, I'm gonna go. No, I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna go. I really want to go. I'll go and stay for 10 minutes. Why you ain't just stay home? You ain't want to be around the people, no way. That's not your scene. Or somebody invites you somewhere and you know, off rip, that's not my scene. I'm not a clubber. I'm not. I would rather go. No, you don't want to do none of that.
Right. Now everybody else dancing and having a good time, and you posted up at the wall,
sitting there ready to go to bed. No, you go to sleep at 9:30.
Exactly. Mean mugging, just mad for no reason.
Yeah, mad for.
Yeah. And you know, when I think about the obedience, you know, like I said, sometimes we just have to kind of get quiet because God's guidance shows up differently for everybody. You know, we all receive our downloads in a different manner. Like, and I tell people, our lives and every single thing we have in our lives is set up based upon how God created us. For example, you know, when you think about, you know, in the beginning, how he created this, then this, then this. So there's always like this order of operations. And then in order for things to work, sometimes, just like they said, you can't have day without having night. Like, there has to be some sort of, you know, balance in things, because everything needs an opportunity to rejuvenate. Everything needs rest. Just like our bodies, we need time to sleep. We need time to rest. We have to find the balance. And so I always compare us to like our technology, right? Our devices, your cell phone. It works better if you power it down every now and again. It won't keep working if you don't connect it back to the source, to the power. That's how we are as well, you know? So I'm fully aware that God's guidance shows up differently for everyone. And, you know, we all receive our downloads differently, but I know that we all receive a download, right? And that's just basically the universe communicating with us to tell us what our next step should be.
But are you listening? Are you listening? That's the problem.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, I know you hear me, but are you listening? And a lot of us hear what God is asking us to do, but we don't listen to what God is calling us to do. And so I would love to hear more about how you recognize his direction in your life. You know, could you share a time? I know there's many, right? But could you just maybe share a time when God's instruction maybe didn't make sense to you in the moment, but it later revealed itself as the exact path that you needed?
One day I was driving home from work and I pulled up at my apartment and I'm sitting in my truck and I am looking, you know, because I don't move without knowing what my next move is. I'm looking at my phone, I have orders for my business, and God clearly says, put it down, clear your plate. I'm like, my stuff had just gotten put in 2 stores in my town. And I was doing like $6,000-$7,000 weeks. Like, and it's not hurting me. It's not taking away. Even though I still had, you know, my full-time job, God said, put it down. Clear your plate. You talking about somebody cry like a baby? When I say I was, because I'm just trying to get out of debt. All of these bills, hospital bill, like I cried so bad. I cried so bad. And then as the days went on, he said, your living situation is about to change. He literally gave, I didn't know. No, everybody else says, God don't give you time. No, he said it's 7 days. In 7 days it did. And that it wasn't a shock to me, but I was like, oh, okay, you really, okay. So you said put it down. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Now, the nature of my business, I see where he kept leading me. I can't even do that. I can't do that. I learned it because my dad had lung cancer. So I was privy to learning things, healing herbs in that manner because of my dad. But he was like, nah, where I'm taking you, you're not even gonna need that. So he said, put it down. And it stopped me from striving. Not thriving, striving. It's not supposed to be all that motion. What you say, rest? Mm-hmm. We're not supposed to be doing all that running around in circles, and because literally money was coming and it was just it was falling through my hands because I was striving for it. He was showing me that you don't have to do that. Yeah. And that was like one of the biggest, hugest lessons, because I used to feel bad for laying down. I used to feel bad for going to sleep. Like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. No, he said, you don't have to strive for this. Like, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm your father. That's what I tell people. My father's not no deadbeat dad. He going to get it done. He's not no deadbeat dad. He going to get it done. But he showed me, like, I get it that it's about the hospital bills and stuff. They can wait. You really need to be completely healed. I need to completely heal your body. I need to completely heal your mindset. So put it down. And me putting it down, like, that was like, I didn't realize how much weight that had on me, to perform. Yeah. You don't have to perform. You don't have to perform. That's the word. You don't got to perform. You do not have to perform. You just listen to what it is that he said to do in your obedience. And it's no performance. Instead, you have no choice, because transparency is going to come through you. Yeah. No performance.
Yeah. So when you think about everything that we deal with in life, right? We live in a world that glorifies, just the toxic energy. We live in a world that's full of opinions and distractions. How do you discern between God's direction and the outside noise, that's surrounding you?
Bro, he done took everybody away, girl. It ain't that many people that can say nothing. Okay, it is not that many people that can say nothing. And then forbid that I feel confused about something, that my emotions, because your heart and your mind, it ain't no good.
Yeah.
What? Forbid something is going on and I'm like, well, should I? He gonna take that thought captive real quick. Like, reel it on in. So I don't everybody's different. I don't have too many of those moments anymore, because then when he's reeling it in, it's a reminder of all the things that he saved me from, and that I'm still here. It's not one day I get up and I'm not. Thank you, God, for my life. I'm still breathing. I ain't got time to argue with Susie Q. Susie Q like to argue. I can't even talk to her no more, because I'm not an arguing type of person. I ain't never been. Oh, I can't deal with JoJo because he lied. You're not going to like what I say, but I ain't going to lie to you, because who got time for that? So now it's that type of thing. My spirit won't allow it. Anything that is contrary to the Bible and anything that convicts me, because I don't like that. I don't need a whooping. I'm not getting a spiritual whooping for nobody. That was one of the very first things. I'd be like, I'm not getting no spiritual whooping for you. I can't talk to you. And with no explanation. I just call me a ghost, because because I'm not getting no spiritual whooping. So it's the conviction. I don't like the way that feels, so I don't be around people and do things that make me feel like that.
Yeah. I understand that, sis, because I know for me, like, the running thing between like family, friends that I always hear people say is they always comment about how I'm always home. I'm always in my room, like my office, right? They're like, you're always there. And for me, I'm like, and Like, I mean, if you mad because I'm obedient and God set me up to be able to do all that I do from the comfort of my home, I mean, you go talk to your daddy. Because me and my daddy got an agreement. Like, I got a contract with me and the Lord that said this is what I'm supposed to do.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
that's what I said. Of all, like, think about the thing. Like, I really, because when people think about abundance, obedience, and just plain money concerning God, people get in their feelings like, oh, first of all, He didn't set us up for that.
Right.
Because we are the heirs to a king. We are the heirs to a king. So why would we have to struggle? But like I said, it's a business. All of those parables when He was like, "No, here, I gave you 5. Oh, you made 10." It's for us to multiply, but it's not going to happen without His direction.
Right.
So when He say do something, before I was like, because like I said, I've had a lot and I've had nothing. I'm the one in my 20s. I was so obedient and didn't even know, paying my parents' mortgage, buying my dad motorcycles, flying back. That's in my 20s. But the world, I'll say it, the world got to me. I was out there, but I wasn't out there so like other people don't recognize. No, I heard you. You have to. It's a business. He wants His fruit. Multiply and give Him that is the bottom line, because yeah, He said He coming back, but our lives are to be lived for His will, His purpose, His glory. It don't have nothing to do with us. So because He loves us and for us to be comfortable, yes, you in your room because that's what He said I gotta do.
Yeah.
Like that's what He said I gotta do, and I have to do that because you realize like you're comfortable asking me about my room and you're comfortable for whatever you have asked me, said to me, even to be able to speak with me because of Him. So I have to do what I have to do. Like that's my Father. Like that they don't get it. Like sometimes I'll be in the house. I'm not talking on the phone this weekend. Well, why you? Because my Father said so. He said we needed time. We gotta chat it up.
Yeah. Like He done told me to sit down before I set you down, and I done been sat down before. I ain't trying to get set down again. So I'm gonna go ahead and be obedient. If He tell me fast, I'm a fast, and that fast is not what I put in my body. He ain't care about what I ate. Okay, that ain't the situation for me right now. He don't care about the food that I'm eating. He cares about the people that are pouring into me. And even when I think about recently when I prayed, for God to reveal what is blocking what He's calling me to do, and I said, God, could you remove it yourself? Because I ain't gonna do it. Just go on and take it. Or reveal it and I'll do the work and remove it myself. And when I tell you that was a good week for me because I was seeing things that I had never saw before. And then things were removed, and like a week later, I'm like, so-and-so ain't been around, or I haven't had the desire for such and such, or you know what I mean? And I was just like, okay, God, I see what you did right there, and it was the push that I needed to keep going, and the reminder that what I'm doing is what He's calling me to do. I care less what anybody else want me to do, because I be telling them like, Lord, if you sent this person to teach me that lesson learned, and if that person is telling me something and I'm not sure, I'm not going to go back to the person and be like, well, who sent you?
No, I'm gonna test the spirit. I'm gonna test the spirit. Hey, y'all.
I'm gonna get Jesus on the main line real quick. Like,
thank you, because
no, I ain't think so.
I ain't do that. Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes the lessons that He teaches us are just so unexpected. What's been, I guess, one of the surprising lessons of obedience that you've learned in your journey of healing and purpose?
Woo!
You said which one?
Lately, Judas. Because we are pourers, we're pour into people and pour into people and pour into people. And God told me to let somebody go. And I was like, I've been knowing this such and such for this many years. The years don't matter. What they pour into you matters. But what are you getting back? And it was, I reenacted something out of the Bible and didn't even know it. By the obedience. God literally talking to the person, I said, make it fast. Go ahead and make it fast. And they said, God told me not to speak to you anymore. And I said, you sure that was God that told you that? And ever since then, I haven't spoken with them. God told me to let them go. But God also showed me and let me hear the things that they were saying. And it hurt me. Even in hearing the things that they said, I still dealt with them. Why? Because love like Jesus. Forgive like Jesus. I don't hold a grudge on nobody. So that, it completely blew me out the water like, whoa. You said that they was a destiny something. You said that they were, but he also taught me that people are supposed to be in your life and align with your purpose. They're going to come back around. You got to do something with their heart first. It don't have nothing to do with me. And I used to think I had to hold on so tight. You said this person, I have to help this person. No matter what they're going through, I got to hold on. No, you don't. Plant the seed and let them go. And that was the biggest thing of obedience. Plant the seed and let them go. Don't hold on when I told you to let go. You got to learn to let go when he said so.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to be somebody, you're going to be looking.
Me sitting there looking crazy. Yeah, you sit there looking crazy.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's time. Time has us to do that. Time, as humans, we'd be like, oh, such and such for that time. But was that person purposeful in pouring into you for them 20, 30 years? Or were they just around to seek and to grab and to siphon your energy? Like we put so much on time.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense.
Yeah, here we are.
You met 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
The person you met in 6 months, poured into you, getting you right together.
Yeah.
More than that person in 30 years, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we forget that, we put such an importance on everything else, like the material things, the irrelevant things, the things that we can get again and again and again, right? But we fail to realize how important time is, because time is the one and only thing we cannot get back.
Can't get it back.
You can't run that back. And so I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm willing to spend time with anyone. I'm willing to spend time with you, because if I'm spending it, I'm spending wisely. But I'm not willing to waste time on anybody. And that includes me, because sometimes I'm the problem, right? Sometimes I'm the one getting in my way. And so I don't want to waste time with me either, because I know that there's no growth that can come from wasted time. There's nothing that can prosper from wasted time. That's just useless, right?
Yep.
They're just like they say, the idle hands, right? I'm not going to just sit and idle in time. I'm going to make sure that every opportunity that I get, that I'm spending my time wisely, that I'm pouring into people with no obligation for them to pour back into me. Because again, if I show up and I pour into you, maybe he ain't send you to pour back into me. Maybe I needed to
But he got me back. Yeah, he got me. He got me back. He got me back. All of our gifts are not for us. And all of our gifts, again, he a businessman. He gave it to us. He expects it to come back. And then he gives it right back. That's with money. That's with time. That's with energy. That is with all the things. None of our gifts are for us all. I don't dare think that it's not about that person's not like me, because people like to say, well, they not going to do me. Like, it's not about that. It's about the fact that God said to pour into you. Either way, it's coming back. Not because I'm asking for it back, but just he's not a person that should lie. He's not going to lie. He said he give it back. And you give it back to him, he's going to give it back to you. How many fold? Because that's just how he is. Because
absolutely.
Because he loves us. But obedience, because obedience is the key to provision and everything else. Because don't think that you want to be partially obedient, which is disobedience.
Right.
And that he's going to keep on. No, he's not. If you don't do the right thing, he's going to get silent on you and say, go ahead.
Right.
I'll be here when you finish. I'll be
He's
okay.
like, go on, go on and do it.
Right.
Right. He's like, I'll wait.
That sit down. No. I told you to do this in this season. Oh, you being disobedient? Sit this one out.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing. Close your mouth. I was like, I can't. He will sit us down.
Yeah.
You only got for real. You only got to get sat down one good time. And for me, I feel like everybody should learn, but then everybody ain't. But obedience, yeah.
Yeah. And it, again, if you don't want to get sat down, like if you don't want to ride the bench, then you got to play the game properly.
Man.
You got to play the game and follow the rules. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. And, honestly, it wasn't even something that I understood until I can't even tell you what year it was. It was definitely a few decades back. I was in my 20s. I say that, in the good old days. Right. And it was literally, I can remember sitting in church, and that particular day, pastor was preaching about Abigail and Nabal. And I think I'm not good with knowing all my scriptures, y'all. I'm a work in progress. Don't judge me. I think it was in 1 Samuel, though. And, that's when he talked about Abigail and Nabal. And first and foremost, just even hearing that story, that is probably, when I say my favorite scripture, the fact that I don't know the actual scripture is crazy at this point, but it's my favorite story. It is my reference point for everything that I do, because first and foremost, knowing that Nabal meant fool or senseless in Hebrew. And so then, Nabal was this wealthy man, and, I'm gonna tell y'all the story in the way that resonates with me. Y'all can look it up and hear the technical part. Okay. But Nabal basically was the fool. And this man, he was wealthy, but he was harsh. He was rude. He was ungrateful. His nature was just, okay. And, when he needed help, David, King David showed up and was there for him, protected him, did all the things that he needed, with the agreement that Nabal was going to pay them back in, these goods. Right. And so when it came time for Nabal to pay, he didn't want to pay. So his wife, Abigail, got word of what was going on. And she like, this man crazy. Let me go ahead, as wives tend to do. We show up and be like, here, this is what he owe you. Please forgive my husband. He's a fool. He know not what he do. So she showed up and tried to present him. So David spared him. Right? Because the wife handled the business. But he's in there partying, and he don't care. He don't see how his wife stepped up on his behalf. None of that. And so as she's continuing to work, Abigail, which means my father's joy, right? She is showing up and she's trying to be obedient to her husband, and he's he's nasty to her. He's just being a bad person, y'all. Like, I don't even know how else to explain it, but she just keeps showing up. And so it gets to the point where Jesus is like, you're doing too much. Let me sit you down for a minute. So basically, like, he paralyzed him, where Nabal could see, he could hear, he could talk, but the man could not move because he had to sit down, right? And so she is still being obedient. She is still being the wife that God is calling her to be. And he's just still nasty to her. As she's serving her husband, he's nasty. So next day, Jesus like, you doing too much. Let me, cut the tongue out. Let me just stop him from being able to talk. So now you got to sit down and shut up. Right. And Abigail keeps showing up. Right. She keeps pouring in. This man's still nasty. So he like, okay, you can't see it. So, okay, let me take your sight. So he started taking piece by piece from him, trying to think, okay, let me silence the noise here. Let me stop you from moving here because you talk about you too busy. Let me shut you up because you can't listen if you're talking. Let me do all these things. She kept showing up and being obedient. Nabal kept being a fool because, again, that's who he was, right? And the only person who can change that is him. So Nabal just kept being who he was. And then, y'all, my favorite part is after it gets through all this work that God was trying to do on him, and Nabal didn't want to listen, Jesus smote him. Took him right on out the game. Right?
You can't. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so most people believe that, that's the end of the story. Well, for me, that was the beginning of the story, because now Nabal's gone. And, as it's written in the Bible, when you married until your husband ain't here no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, that man ain't here no more. So King David found out that Nabal has passed. King David comes back, takes Abigail to be his wife. Now she the queen. You see what I mean? So like, to me, it wasn't the ending of the story. It was the beginning. And has always stuck with me, because I'm like, I'm not about to be out here being the fool. Okay. If I get sat down, I'm going to stop as soon as I'm paralyzed.
As soon as I'm paralyzed, listen, because he's not about to smoke me.
Like, I'm not trying to be smoked. So, that's always been, from that moment, hearing that story, as silly as that may sound to some people, that was literally the moment in my life I realized, you better sit down before you get sat down. Like, you better take that first warning to say, you need to get some sleep, you need to stop clubbing, you need to stop doing this. And again, that's not us telling you, just like, you being a vegan, you're not out here saying, hey, you better become vegan before Jesus smote you. No, this is your story. This is my story, but like exactly. The moral of the story is, you better get it together before he gets you together. Because there's nothing for him to get us together, but he gives us chance after chance. And so finally he like, you know what? I'm sick of
grace.
You. Yeah,
grace,
exactly.
Grace. But people dwell on the slow to anger. Baby, that don't mean he don't anger. That don't mean that. That means he's slow to anger. He's giving you chances. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if it's fast or slow. I just don't want him mad with me.
Be mad with me.
Like, you missing
my niece has been acting out, and I called her the other day. I said, listen, I got to give you a couple verses, okay? I said, but it's a couple things I got to tell you. I told her, honor your mother and father thing. I'm going through with her. I said, but it's one more thing. I said, do you know that Jesus is in your DMs? She said, what? I said, Jesus is in your DMs. He is omnipresent. God knows everything that's going on, honey.
Yeah.
So don't think you're going to get away with anything.
Yeah.
And he's going to correct you. That's what I said. I said, he's going to correct you. I said, you're going to learn reverence, and you're going to learn it soon, because he's big. Slow. I said, when you see a rainbow, she said, Auntie, I said, when you see a rainbow, understand that God believes that he keeps his covenants. He said he won't gonna flood us no more. When you see that rainbow, take it as a sign that he's reminded himself that we being bad. We been his bad children, and he's not gonna flood us no more. She was like, oh, you know how kids are. I said, no, I said, listen, I don't gonna give you too much, but I promise you I'll give you the scriptures. So when I see a rainbow, I'll be like, let me go on in the house. It's pretty. But let me go on in the house, because I don't know what nobody got going on. I'm going to be obedient. That's what I'm going to do.
I ain't trying to get caught up in y'all's flood, okay? That ain't for me. That's the whole part when they say you better watch the company that you keep. We didn't really understand what our parents was telling us then, but I get it now.
I get it.
I ain't trying to be in the wrong place at the right time.
Right. I get it. I'm
Yeah. At what point did you know that your healing journey wasn't just about you, that it was about you being called to now help others?
Because early on, okay, your gifts are not for you. Okay, cool. I know that. But you give me all these ideas for these businesses and this. You selfish. Man, my heart was hurting for weeks. He called me selfish. I said, I do this and this and this. And he said, no, you're being selfish. Because how could you say that you appreciate and you're thankful for the gifts I've given you, and you're not sharing them? You ever been hit with, he hit me right in the head with that Bible and said, read it. Because multiplication, because help your neighbor. You got to help other people. And then the revelation of, dang, the people that are drawn to me are going through the things that I've gone through.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. I'm like, dang, the people that, wait, so you mean to tell me, okay, man, I see what you did there. You have to be relatable. besides being transparent and honest, you have to be relatable, and in turn that helps people because don't nobody want to hear from somebody that ain't been through what you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know if you stepped in a puddle with regular shoes on, and you don't know I did that. But if you've never done it, you don't know how my sock got wet. You don't know. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why. And he told me I was being selfish. He said you're being selfish. I said, but you gave me so much knowledge, but it's not for you. It's not for you. Be like a waiter and serve. That's it. That's it. That's it. Be like a waiter
and serve. Yes. Listen, I think that, over the years, your identity have shifted so much, right, along the way. How would you say that you moved from being this vegan activist, right, to embracing a life fully of like compassion, faith, and balance?
How did I had no choice. No, because that's a great question, but it wasn't a choice in the matter. When you continuously are receiving revelation and beginning to understand, you're gonna move because you realize that your actions are contrary, and I don't want to feel the conviction, your actions, but then the things that you didn't want to do, you find yourself. Like God has placed it in your heart. That's what you want to do. He makes you love those things. And the joy of the fruit, now I can understand how he feels and why he be on us so hard for his fruit. Because he entrusts you with people's lives. Like what I do has the ability to change someone else's destiny. Where I'm being obedient and saying this or doing this for them, it has the ability to change. That's big.
Yeah.
At first I was like, this is pressure. No, it's not pressure. This is big because it could just be one word. It could just be one action. It could just be something so small, but that be something so big to someone. And so at first, I was like, you want me to do it? You pick me.
Me?
Are you sure? Yeah, me? You sure? And continue. Now it's like, no, it's not really about being vegan. It's about really your overall health because your body is the temple that houses God in you. So that's why. That's the important part. But I want everybody to live a long life. I want everybody's mindset to be where it needs to be because that's really where it starts, changing your mind. So that's how I kind of changed. It's not about the stuff. It's not about houses and cars, and it's not about any of that for me. But to see, now I'm starting to see my fruit, and I've learned again. Had to drop some people off because they're like, "How could you be happy for such and such? How could you be happy? What?" I've been jumping up and down at seeing my fruit. So just. Then I imagine God is so big. He see everything, all the people that are living in it. Well, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
That helps me to thrive. That just makes my heart. It doesn't matter if. And I said, if I have to stay in this little room, I ain't worried about it because I see my fruit. The people you entrusted to me, I see businesses opening and thriving. I see, my social media is not where I thought I wanted it to be for that purpose, but it's not about the numbers. It's about the people. So he entrusted me to certain people. And I mean, they got it going you hear me? So every day that makes me, and that's why he's enough. That's the answer. He's enough. That's the answer. That's the answer. I said a lot, but that's the answer. He said that's the answer. He's enough. He's enough.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times too, when it gets back to people, passing judgment because we in the house and they in the streets, from the house, we can see what people can't see from the streets. From the house, when I look out the window, I can see everything going on in my neighborhood. And I mean this literally and figuratively. I can see that this neighbor got a new roof. This neighbor got a new car. Oh, this person just bought this. I can see all of these things. And what that shows me, first and foremost, when I was out there in the streets, I couldn't see it, right? Because it was so congested. So I can't see down the block because I'm right here in the street, right? But from my window, I can see all of these other upgrades that people are making. Doesn't matter to me that there ain't no upgrade happening over here. That actually tells me that God is in the neighborhood. So I just know that my blessings are on the way. I know that it is working out for my good. I know all the things because he is all the things. But if I was out there in them streets, I couldn't see it because I would be too busy watching my back. I would be too busy trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah. Trying to figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be a product of the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to sit back, count my blessings. I want to, and then it's like a thing too. It allows me to do so without having a jealous heart, without being envious. If I look out and the neighbors pull up with a new car, I'm like, okay, so-and-so, I see you. You know what I mean? And it now allows me to help other people celebrate. It allows me to say a prayer over somebody to say, oh, I see that. They deserve that because they've been working hard and they ain't had no new car in the last 10 years. I'm happy.
Because you don't know what somebody went through to get to that point. You don't know. Even I could tell you my life story from as much as I remember, but you're still not going to know the actual feeling of the thing. You can have compassion and empathy, but you don't know what somebody went through to get to that. You don't know. When I'm led, but because of my heart, I'm that person. I'm the encourager, and I didn't realize I was the encourager. I didn't realize that the things I said that was another sign. I didn't realize the things I said were really helping people and impactful until people started to want to pour back into me. And so people would send me a love offering, which is I just want to buy you lunch. Why? Because you said something to me 8 months ago. I didn't know. I didn't think. I just was saying what I was supposed to say. You know, I was led to say it, and it impacts somebody. So. There is a person that I know, she's like 45 years old and she went back to school. But before, when she was going to school, she was married with somebody and they didn't coerce her. So here I am. My niece's grades came out. Did your grades come out? Well, I need to see your report card. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes. You don't know me from a can of paint. Okay, can of paint, send a report card. Oh, so you say you got a 4.0. What kind of snacks you like? You gonna send me and say, yeah, that's what I do. I'm gonna celebrate you. And she was like, I've never had anybody do that in the 20-something years I was married. Like, It was one semester. You really gonna celebrate me? She was asking, why are you crying? Why are you sad? She said, so it's a couple of people I know that are older that have gone back to school, but this one, I'm like, why are you? It's a snack,
Right.
She said it's more than that to me. And I didn't realize sometimes we don't know. We don't know what people need. We don't know what they didn't receive. Just in that retrospect, and it's not always about things. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. You're doing that. You got this, and going on 7 kids and 15 grandkids and your husband and your dad, and this is going on. And you still showing up.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of even like the lyrics to the Mary Mary song, right? When they said, what they don't know when you get home and get behind closed doors and you hit the floor. What they see is us on our knees, right? And so I always be like, when people be like, well, how do you do that? Or how does she do this? And baby, that's between her and her God, And that's why I said it became clear to me how easy it was for me to not be jealous of people, to not be envious of people. Yes, I'm human. So I get caught up in a comparison trap from time to time, compliments of social media. Social media will have us rethinking our whole being.
Whole life, yeah.
Yeah, you be over there trying to make life choices and try to figure out why I can't get my views up. Why ain't nobody liking my post? I said the same thing she said. I ain't good enough. You know what I mean? But that's why you got to be careful with who you keep around you, with what you watch. It's not all about what you eat. It's the other things that you put into you, the TV shows you're watching, the books that you're reading, the people that you keep in your life, the relationships that you hold on to, like all of these things. And it's like all of these things and all of these experiences that we go through in life naturally lead to wisdom, right? We become wiser. And so I think that this is the point where, and this is a perfect point for us in this conversation where, your story, gets to meet somebody else's heart. So for someone listening right now who may feel overlooked or broken or perhaps set apart, what words of encouragement would you share with them from your story?
Woo! Be yourself. You are yourself because God made you perfect the way that you are. And everything that is in yourself, the things that you do, say, and are, is for a purpose, a greater one, for a greater purpose. What everybody else is doing, it doesn't matter. But as long as you stay being you and being true to yourself, that's what's helped me. I haven't changed. I have not. I haven't changed, and that's the thing that really, it makes it easier to do your own heart. You have to check your own heart daily. Yeah. God's checking your heart, but you stay true to yourself. It's easy to do a heart check before it gets out of whack to know who you are. Yeah. So stay true to yourself. Yeah. Big thing.
Absolutely. And embrace the evolution, right? Yeah. Because nothing stays the same. No. Right. Mm-hmm. But in the same aspect that we think nothing stays the same, we also have to understand that nothing changes if nothing changes. So there is an evolution that has to take place. And it's a reminder every single day we wake up and we see the sun, and every single night when we go to bed and it's dark outside. That is our visual reminder of the change. When you look at the trees and the plants, right? You see how a little tiny seed went in the ground and now it's a huge, massive tree producing fruit for us to eat. That is a sign of change. That is a sign of evolution. Think about it. We started off as, one thing. We've grown over the years, and look back at just how you've grown. You can look at your children or your nieces, whatever it is, and you can see evolution all around us. So we would be foolish to think that we don't need to change how we are operating as well. We must evolve. We must keep changing. But we get to do so in a manner that is authentic to us. That way we leave our mark on the world, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Sis, I thank you so much for showing up, taking time with us today, and truly sharing your story, your heart, and your wisdom, okay?
Hold on. My wisdom been growing since 9 years old. Hold on.
Yes. Listen. And, you just being obedient to answering the call. I know we talked behind the scenes a little bit when you were like, I've been asked to do podcasts before, and I did some of these podcasts before, but it felt different. And again, that was you being obedient, because if you would have stuck to the script, I'd have got a thanks, but no thanks. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's cute. I like what you're doing, but I'm not about to be a part of that. So I'm just thankful and grateful that you chose, because it was all about a choice. For you to just be obedient and wanting to come and share your story, because I think that your story, your journey reminds us that healing and faith and obedience are very deeply intertwined, and that, walking the path, even when it's hard, can lead to breakthroughs that we've never imagined, Yeah. So, I would love for you to just take a moment to share with our listeners how they can connect with you, your social media handle or website, or, any upcoming information, or I guess upcoming projects that you might have. That way people can continue to follow your journey and learn more about your work.
I am the Vegan 5.0 on TikTok, and on there, I do a lot of encouraging downloads. I share. You can see it in the videos that it just came to me and I got to share. So it's a lot of that. My site, ThaVeganHealer.com. I do coach people according to food, faith, and healing, mindset healing. I offer therapeutic meal planning, and I just launched donation-based menus, like weekly menus for different ailments. So I'm going to say last week I did for diabetes. And simple, 30 minutes or less, okay? because we like simple, 30 minutes or less. And I did a simple one for veganism next week. I'm doing eczema. The healing foods that will help you. Yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Absolutely. Family, be sure to tap in. I have her information scrolling now, but we will also include it in the description of the podcast. So again, make sure you take the opportunity to connect with her. Reach out, ask questions. My sis got some answers for you, okay?
I'm going to answer. Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you so much. Family, thank you all for tuning in today. And I want you guys to just remember that at this point in life, your journey might be hard, but your obedience, your faith, and trust can open, the door to that healing and purpose that you are seeking. Now, before we part ways, let me leave you all with a little love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every moment in between. Keep choosing peace, even when it feels just out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, to speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. Thank you.